Hi everyone, thanks for joining me for the new year, the first chart of the new year, and boy is it a doozy, huh? I'm Vickieverlie, the rock and roll prophetess. I am a psychic astrologer and tarot. I am first and foremost a psychic. I've been, psychic my whole life. I've been doing readings for like 30 years, so welcome to the full moon in Cancer chart. Now, I'm again a psychic astrologer, so I do know some astrology, quite a bit actually, but this is more of a psychic reading. So if you are a very strict astrologer and everything's by the book and this means this and that's how it is, then maybe this isn't the forecast for you. And then on the other hand, if you are somebody who's looking at this thinking, oh, this looks like it's too much astrology, I'm not going to understand it, just hang in there because it gets more and more psychic as we go along. I use this mainly as kind of a scrying tool, like a jumping off point, and to let the information come through. Yeah, this is going to be a huge event, and we're feeling it already. These eclipses and any major transit, especially these slow-moving like the Saturn-Pluto. This is a slow-moving transit. It's not like, well, on January, it's actually the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. It's happening then. It's at 22. That's the whole thing about the Saturn-Pluto conjunction you're hearing so much about. But it's not just going to be, okay, here it is, it's January 12th, and we're having the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. It doesn't work like that at all. It's a circle, it's a vibe, it's an energy. You feel it coming in and you feel it going out, and the effects are long-lasting. The eclipse's effects are also long-lasting than your normal new or full moon in this case. They last, 6 months to a year. And, the Saturn-Pluto thing, that's going to last, who knows how long. The last time, I need to get a cough drop, excuse me. The last time that we had a Saturn-Pluto in Capricorn was in the 1500s. So it's been a really, really long time. And no one alive today has actually experienced the Saturn-Pluto conjunction in Capricorn, at least not in this incarnation anyway. Yeah, so it's some heavy-duty energy, man. It's heavy duty. Right now I'm recording this 1 week before this event. I'm recording it, 1 week before the actual eclipse event. And, we've got a few things are happening. Well, one is Australia is on fire, and we've all seen the horrific images of the animals being killed, and the fires are just everywhere, and the people on the beach and everything. And this is it's fire energy, obviously, but it's of Mother Earth, it's of the Earth event. And a purging, a full moon, a lunar eclipse is a full moon, supercharged full moon, they're saying. And it is a purging. So it's a purging of, I'm not sure what, but there is definitely a purging going on, a purge, initiation of through fire is what I'm hearing. And then the Saturn-Pluto, it's an orb. Pluto's been at 22. Saturn's going to at 21 as we're recording this. That's considered a conjunction by anyone's standards. One orb conjunction, 1 degree orb. But it's going to hit 22 somewhere. I think the 7th or 8th it's going to hit 22 degrees. So even though the exact conjunction down to the minute isn't happening till the 12th, it's happening. It's happening, all right? It's on. It's on, baby. Well, and also in America, there's this whole thing, now Trump's going to go to war or whatever. He's starting a war in the Middle East, and, so that's happening. And that's actually not surprising. Nothing to do with Trump. I don't want don't start fights over that stuff, please. But because Capricorn, well, Pluto and Capricorn both are very much energies of power. Capricorn, the goat, the sea goat, likes the view from the top of the mountain the best. And corporations, people, because, well, I know a lot of people are saying, well, there's wars getting started because of a re-election thing, blah, 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 which could be true, but also war has always done to boost an economy. Or to, as we saw in the last big war, the Gulf War, that America engaged in, the last, the Gulf War, that, you know, he had his buddies in there, Dick Cheney and whoever, you know. It was the boys club, you know, the boys. Saturn is a male energy. And they were giving contracts to, you know, that Dick Cheney's companies or whatever, you know. I don't want to get into politics, but that's the kind of stuff. The boardroom is what I'm hearing, you know, stuff that's behind the closed doors of the boardroom. And it doesn't have to be just in America and war and politics. This stuff goes on, you know, everywhere. You know, inside favors, you know, I'll give you the contract for the tanks or whatever it is. You know, it generates, war has been used to generate, got us out of the Great Depression, you know, back in the day. So war generates money, you know, business. Back in the day, it got people going back to work, but, you know, in more recent times, it's been a little bit of a different vibe going on here. But that's like the dark side or the downside. Every planet, every energy has a positive side and a negative side. So the dark side is there could be, you know, Pluto's power. Pluto's fire, like out of the underworld, hell, all hell, fire, you know, all that stuff, you know. So that's happening, and it's powerful, and it's wanting to be the ruler, and it's wanting to be the boss, and wanting to control everything. And you know, like in the instance of the fires, it's out of control. I mean, it's out of control. And we have those fires a lot over in California, too, in America. So, it's out of control. It's trying to control the uncontrollable, is what I'm hearing. It's vying for power. It's wanting to be the top of the heap, the #1, you know. What song is that? These little town blues. What is that? I gotta watch once my singing. By the way, if you never watch my, I don't call myself the rock and roll prophetess for no reason. I'm a rock musician for as long as I've been doing readings. I've been, you know, a rock and roll musician and songwriter and whatever. And yeah, and my guides talk to me in that way. It's a means of communication. I don't know if it's just a means of communication because I've been so immersed in it my whole life. I think that's part of it, but I also think that a lot of my rock and roll buddies, my musician friends, have passed over, and I think a lot of them are my guides now or help out during the readings. So whatever the case, you know, that's just, I'm not just coming up and, hey, I'm going to sing a song for you, you know. There's messages in it, very, you know, that comes through in that way. But anyways, and if you want to hear about any of my music stuff, you can look at my music channel. But back to this. Yeah, so I totally forgot what I was saying. Oh, yeah, I was getting that Frank Sinatra song, Top of the Heap, #1, These Little Town Blues. What is that? I gotta watch my singing. It's New York, New York. Ooh, yikes. I hope nothing's going down in New York. But anyways, yeah, it's the song New York, New York is coming through. Well, in America, New York is where Wall Street is. You know, New York is where a lot of the big business stuff goes on. You know, it's one of the big centers of business and Capricorn energy. Because I'm talking about Capricorn because even though we're dealing with Pluto and all these planets, they're all in Capricorn. Pluto, Saturn, this is the asteroid series. Mercury, Sun. Mercury's conjunct this... well, opposing this full moon. And then there's this Jupiter South Node thing. By the way, another thing I want to mention real quick before I dive back into the psychic part. I am offering, if you want to look at your chart, I'm offering a reading just for this event in a bi-wheel. So it's your chart and then this chart, and it looks at everything. And I have the year ahead too if you want to check that out. But this Jupiter South Node thing is really, ooh, wow. This is really, everything's going out of control. Trying to control things that are out of control. Yeah, this Jupiter South Node is another thing I dive into in that reading. But this is a major Capricorn energy. And I'm hearing that term, what is it? Absolute power corrupts absolutely, you know. And this is a struggle for absolute power. This is, especially the Pluto Saturn. You know, it's almost like they're duking it out, man. They're duking it out, and it's absolute power corrupts absolutely. So it's like it's all imploding. You know, it's all imploding. It's all backfiring. It's not. it's not going to work like it has in the past. You know, you're not going to be able to start a war and give your buddies the contract so you make money off of it, or, you know, at the expense of, you know, these families losing their loved ones in you know, people, the soldiers who are fighting these wars for you. That's not going down this time. I don't see that really working, or I don't see that working out, you know, like it may have in the past. But it's a vie for it. It's a reach for it. They're trying to, you know, and I'm not directing this directly at Trump, so please don't start with a political fight in the comments. I'm directing this at just any stuff that's going on behind closed doors in these boardrooms and stuff. This is not going, and it's becoming harder and harder and harder to keep this stuff secret. You know, it's just not. You can't do it anymore, because before, you know, there's just, people have phones everywhere, and you know, Big Brother's just everywhere. So you can't, it's not as easy to keep all these big secrets like they used to, and keep, you know, John Q. Public in the dark over here. And while we're running things from high above in our ivory towers over here, and keeping, you know, everybody in the dark and in the you know, out of it. So yeah, this full moon is at 20 degrees, of course, opposed the sun, which is conjunct Mercury. And my natal Mercury is at 20 degrees of Capricorn. So I don't know what the hell is going to happen here. I'm hoping for the positive, you know, because there always is a positive. I've been writing. I've got 3 books in the works, so I mean, that's probably what it is. It's my Mercury in the 3rd house. That's maybe what it's going to be for me, hopefully, that's all. But so, let's look at this. Let's look at the negative and the positive side of the Capricorn energy or the Saturn energy, which is pretty much the same thing here. 10th house, Capricorn, Saturn, all the same thing, all the same vibration, okay? So, let's take a look at this. So, Saturn, the positive side of it, I always use this, I love this example because Saturn rules the bones in our bodies. And without the bones in our bodies, we'd be a pile of mush on the ground. So we need the bones in our bodies. It rules structure. It rules foundations. It rules things that are very long-standing, because a Saturn transit takes approximately 28 years. So things that happen, like many of you, even if you're not into astrology, I'm sure you're familiar with your Saturn return, you know. When you have that Saturn return, you're kind of setting your life path for the next 27 years. The minimal it's going to be is a quarter turn. So 7 to 8 years, you know, is what, because it takes 28 years to go all the way around, but it takes 7 years to go 1 quarter to make the square. Quarter, quarter, quarter. So minimally, a minimal of 7 years, these things are coming into play. And, you know, usually it's about 28 years. We had Saturn in Pluto, you know, I mean, Saturn in Capricorn, you know, 28 years ago or so. That was the whole, what was that, the harmonic convergence or whatever, wasn't that? That whole thing where all this, there was a big lineup in Capricorn. But see, and we could compare, go back to that time frame, it was sometime in the 80s. But Pluto wasn't there, you know, so everything is cyclical. Everything is cyclical. So yeah, there's a cycle that's being completed that I could tell you when it was, because I have all my stuff out here. Saturn was in Capricorn the last time, 1989 through 1991. So there's a cycle that's completing from that time frame. And that's how you can look at it through your personal life, by looking back and seeing what was going on back then. But Pluto wasn't there. And again, Pluto hasn't been in Capricorn since the 1500s. The last time we had a Pluto-Saturn conjunction in the sign of Capricorn was 1500 something. So, you know, we're in a whole new thing here. But anyway, so it's back to Saturn being positive. Saturn is leadership. Saturn is control amidst the madness. Saturn's like the parent. So the kids are all running around and going crazy, and the parent says, hey, you know, get over here and eat your dinner or whatever, you know. Saturn takes control of things, and Saturn actually can really be a calming agent in a lot of chaotic stuff going on. So that's something positive. Another analogy besides the bones another analogy I use a lot of times for Saturn, it's like, you can think of it like a big rock or a big heavy piece of cement. and it's coming along, and it's coming along. And when it comes upon something that's weak, it's just going to get crushed. It's just going to get dissolved and crushed. But then you're going to have a new foundation there, you know. And this new foundation is going to last for, you know, this new foundation that we're doing now is going to last for the next, whatever, 500 years or something. I mean, it's been 500 years since we've had Saturn and Pluto, so it's pretty major, pretty intense. Okay, now let's look at Pluto. It's death and rebirth. It can be rage. It can be really, you know, a lot of upheaval and kind of craziness. But the positive side of Pluto, it's death and rebirth. It's the ruler of Scorpio energy. And, you know, the Scorpio energy has 3 vibrations. There's the stinging Scorpio, so it's cruel and punishing and, like, you know, Hades of the underworld and all that. And then there's the middle ground, which is the gray lizard, which is kind of neither here nor there, kind of, you know, just, it's just sort of out of it, is the way I think of it, you know, just kind of not really engaged, you know, because it's denying the Pluto energy. Pluto's so powerful. And then the ultimate expression of Pluto energy or Scorpio energy is the eagle. The eagle soars high, the eagle soars above, the eagle has this power and embraces it and knows it and, you know, is fully in it, you know, and uses it with dignity and grace and, you know, this kind of vibration. The other thing about Pluto and Scorpio in the 8th house, all the same thing again, 8th house, Scorpio, Pluto, is it's death and rebirth. It's clearing out. It's like almost like, you know, like you could think of it even as like a vulture or something, you know. The vulture is, you know, not freaked out by death. The vulture's like, okay, a tasty meal. The vulture cleans out. It's necessary. Death and rebirth is all part of the cycle again. It's all part of what's going on in this world. Life and death, it is. It's all that is. It's you know. So this death and rebirth, it's purging, it's getting rid of stuff that needs to be cleaned out, needs to be cleared, needs to be put to rest in order for a new day to dawn. Okay, now let's move over and look at this Jupiter Saturn. I mean Jupiter South Node. This is pretty, well, I wanted to do the Mercury first. Okay, so the Mercury's there, and that's exact conjunction to my natal Mercury. So when I have a personal, you know, when I'm personally affected by it, I have kind of a hard time being objective because I want to spin it to be something good for me. You know, I think we're all guilty of that. You know? Well, it's got to be good because it's, you know. But Mercury Sun is expression. Mercury is the mind, it's the mental. Sun is your shining, your glowing, your expression. So being able to articulate things, being able to communicate, having thoughts and ideas, putting things together in our minds. Because there's so much stuff floating around out there, and there's so much chaos and upheaval going on. But being able to somehow wrap our heads around it, you know, get it in our brain, get it in our conscious, our monkey mind, bringing it down to the earth. This is an earth sign, you know. Capricorn is an earth sign, so we're bringing it down to earth. And ideas could spring forth. Pluto Saturn is going to bring about these big changes, but sometimes that's really good because it puts another spin on things for us. Solving a problem with our mind. We run it in our mind and run it in our mind and run it in our mind. You know, the wheels are spinning, we can't sleep at night because we're running it in our mind, And all the time, it's like, hello, McFly, you know, the Spirit's trying, it's trying to get through, it's trying to show us alternatives, it's trying to, you know, show us the way, you know, give us the answers that we seek. But we're too much trying to think of solutions. How, why, who, what, why, where, when, how, you know. Well, this isn't an aspect of letting that go, but this is an aspect of the higher consciousness able to show us, and we're able to get out of that same thing, you know, like a hamster running on a wheel. You know, our minds can be like that, you know, and we're hamster running on a wheel, round and round and round with the same thoughts over and over again, and back to the beginning, and you know, you just drive yourself freaking crazy, right? This is getting off the hamster wheel and having some clarity and being able to come up with new ideas, come down to earth, get, well, it would be a good time for all of us to get grounded in the earth. Get out in nature, go stand in the dirt, you know, go around animals, and, you know, be close to nature. And you could have clarity in your head. Clarity of mind is coming through, but I'm also feeling like solving problems that we've been running around with forever. And it's probably just going to be in a real practical way. Well, it always is. It's always simple truths, isn't it, in the end? When we finally get the answer, it's just like, oh, geez, it was, you know, it was such a simple thing. It always is. We make it way more complex than it needs to be in so many things in our lives, right? We just make it, we overthink it, well, it's got to be this, or this, and conspiracy theory, and this, and not even just conspiracy theory at large, you know, but like in our own lives, you know, it's just like, oh, I bet it's because of this, and they did this, and you know, stop it, stop. Now I'm getting out of their song. You gotta stop. What is that? Oh, darn it! It came and it went. I hate when I didn't grab it fast enough. It was a song that said you gotta stop, but I can't remember it right now. Anyways, now continuing on with more Capricorn energy. We still have more Capricorn energy to talk about. Jupiter is pretty much exactly conjunct the South Node at this time. So, I mean, Jupiter conjuncts the South Node fairly often, but this is a snapshot at the time of this event, the Saturn-Pluto conjunction and this lunar eclipse. It's a snapshot, and anything else that's going on at that time is also amplified and also becomes more powerful, more prevalent, okay? So, Jupiter conjunct the South Node is kind of like the shining light here, you know, the thing that's kind of could be nice. Excuse me 1 second. And because Jupiter is considered the great benefic, it's helper, it expands, it's lucky, it brings luck, good stuff to you, good fortune, and it's conjunct the South Node. So there's going to be a lot of connections. South Node is your past, but really more strongly, the most strong thing about South Node is it's your past life, okay? And people are going to benefit from this. We all are. And connections that are made at this time are going to be with soulmates from a past life, you know, whether you want to believe that or not, but that's the case, really. It could, you know, for some of us, it might just be somebody we knew from the past. Yeah, I went to school with them, or this or that, you know. But even so, if it is just some old schoolmate or whoever, there's a past life connection going on, you know. And we can tap into that. We can tap into our past life talents and abilities. We can tap into positive dharma that we've accrued, and kind of tap into it and use it as a resource at this time. But ultimately, the eclipse itself. So just to put a finishing touch on this, you know, so the people that it's showing up at this time, especially if they are from the past, or there's one of those, you know how you can tell somebody's from a past life when you just like, oh, I know you, or you become fast friends, and you just, you know, I felt like I knew them my whole life. Well, that's how that goes. But anyways, so the North Node, which is the direction we always want to go in at this time, where we're going, and the lunar eclipse itself are both in the sign of Cancer. Now, Cancer is the energy of the mother, the nurturer, the healer. I think of Cancer as the healer. It has to do with home and family. It has to do with food. It has to do with nurturing and understanding. It's the complete opposite. It's the opposite. You know, it's oppositions. This is the father. This is the mother. in traditional old school, you know, representations of that, you know, not getting politically correct, you know, stay-at-home dads. Now that's all changing, but this is, the guidance is saying everything's look at everything points down to here, bringing out the positive side of Cancer energy, which is nurturing, loving, unconditional love, caring, healing, making it all better, you know, feeding, nurturing, clothing, you know, all this. You can think of it mother, but I almost even think of it stronger as like a grandmother, you know, grandmother's love, you know, because mothers still have to, you know, be the disciplinarian and all that stuff, but the Cancer energy in its positive, pure essence would be more of the grandmother energy. You know, grandma always loves you, the grandma always, you know, bakes you cookies or whatever, you know. And the energy of the grandmother, it also reminds me of, you know, more wisdom, you know, more patience. I know grandparents are ruled by some other house, and it's not really the 4th house, so again, if you're anal about your astrology, maybe this isn't for you. This is just the vibe that's coming through to me, the grandmother energy. And planet Earth kind of has this grandmother energy too, you know, Pachamama, Gaia. It's old. It's old energy, you know, it's old. It's steeped in tradition. But, well, you know, again, these traditions, this energy can go either way. The tradition of, yeah, of unconditional love and nurturing and caring. But also, if you look at the old roles of, you know, matriarchal, patriarchal roles, it's also subservient and stuff like that. So, with this energy, this isn't really the subservient thing. Bowing down to this powerful stuff isn't going to be, that's not, I don't feel like that's the route, you know. Okay, all powerful Oz here, you're the man, you know everything, I'm just a little peon. No. I'm going to just do your laundry and make you sandwiches or whatever, you know. No, that's not it. But it's also taking that ego, the highest route. Don't engage in this lower vibration if you can. Don't get caught up in it. Go take that higher route. Be that eagle. Show that unconditional love in a way of understanding that maybe some of the energies that are operating here aren't as evolved in an emotional and spiritual way, you know. Yeah, maybe they have a lot of material power, but maybe they're not as involved in, you know, in a different kind of way. There's emotional intelligence. You know, there's other kinds of power. And Mother Earth herself, you know, I mean, there's fires and volcanoes and earthquakes and stuff, yeah, but overall, the Earth energy, the Earth Mother power isn't in isn't in that vibe at all, you know. It's in, you know, that inner, you know, Mother Earth. It's a feminine vibration. It's a feminine, the divine feminine. There's power in that divine feminine. It's a different kind of power. It's not the power that we've been rolling with for the last 500 years, or even beyond, obviously, but, you know, there's a shift occurring. There's a huge shift occurring, you know, on our planet. These are changing times. May you live in interesting times, right? The other thing is, excuse me, one second, one more drink. Excuse me. The other thing, when I was talking about, you know, power and force and all that, Mars came to mind, because that Mars is the god of war and aggression and all that stuff. And Mars is trining Chiron. And it's in the enlightened sign of Sagittarius, which is enlightenment. You know, so Mars at this moment, I mean, Mars is going to move forward and it's going to move into Capricorn and join the party, but at this moment, it's not there. At this snapshot, this moment in time, this amplified energetic vortex portal that's happening right now is really what's going on, right? Mars isn't in that Mars is over here. Mars is in the sign of Sagittarius, which is the higher mind, it's the higher learning, it's expanded consciousness. So Mars is doing its own thing, it's doing a different thing. And it's trying over here, it's trying to Chiron. So it's working to heal. I just heard Mars as being the warrior of peace, which is sweet. I like that. And maybe that's, you know, be a warrior of peace is a good message here, you know. With Pluto there, this stuff's going to be its own undoing. Mother Earth's taking care of it, and beyond Mother Earth. I mean, this stuff's, it's falling, it's crumbling, you know. And all our angry ranting and raving isn't going to, you know, I'm hearing something about, what is that old expression about a hill of beans? It ain't worth a hill of beans, or whatever. Yeah, some of my guides are real old-fashioned, too. Yeah, and Mars is squaring off with Lilith also, which is a feminine, powerful feminine, feminine energy that's very powerful. So, yeah, this is all going on. It's almost like we embrace this Cancer energy, and you know how mothers or grandmothers energy, it can make everything all right, you know. You came home, maybe you got, something happened, whatever, at school, or you fell down and got hurt playing, or this or that happened, and you come into this, the womb of the feminine, the home and the hearth, and grandma or mom would kiss and hug and make it all right. And it doesn't have to be grandma and mom, whoever that was for you, you know. That's what this is. And she had the strength and she had the magic. It's magic that your grandmother, you know, or this, I'm just going to call it grandmother energy. You can call it whatever you want, relate to it in any way you want. But that it was magic that she could kiss your boo-boo and make it all better, you know. And it did feel better, you know. And you did feel nurtured and loved and safe. So that's what we want to move forward to. That's what we want to embrace here. Okay. Oh, by the way, we're speaking of the fires. There's a, you know, they're having the big prayers. Please do try to participate in that. Beyond praying, they're somebody that I watch on YouTube. As a matter of fact, I like a lot. Is Karen. She goes by Karen Swain. Has passed around this thing, and she's really good. She's saying, you know, don't just pray and beg for it. Oh, please let it rain, and be in this space of lack and neediness. Visualize it raining. Feel it. Taste it. You know, smell it. You can smell the rain. You know, I was working on it last night, and it's raining like crazy here. But we got to move that energy over to Australia, you know. Let's move it over to Australia. So everybody, I wish that you would try to participate in that. More than sharing it on social media or, oh, it's, you know, talking about how terrible is it, or showing pictures of the dead animals, which, I mean, that raises awareness. But let's do some real energy work. Let's go into the emotional, the feminine, the subconscious. This is where it's at right now. This is what everything's, look at. It's all just... It's pointing down here, all right? All right, again, so I do have, if you want to look at this chart with your chart, I do have that. It's an eclipse reading, but it's going to take into account this and the whole deal. I have that available. I've extended the year ahead reading because people are still coming in wanting it, so that's available. You know, I mentioned my music. I have music channels, and those are both linked before. I do regular music, and I do children's music. So if any of you out there, I know a lot of creative people watch my videos. If you need music for a project or looking for a song to record, check it out. You know, but if not, it's good too. But if that's something that you might be interested in or involved in, you know, please do check it out. All right, everybody, thank you so much for supporting me and tuning in, and all you Patreon people. I really do appreciate you. And I appreciate everybody who likes, shares, and comments my videos over the last several years. That's what keeps things moving, and purchasing my wares, whether it's the different readings I offer or the decks and books and the other stuff that I do. It's all so appreciated. Remember, you are love and beauty incarnate. I mean, I say that at the end of every video, but I mean, that's probably, if I could leave you with nothing else out of this, you know, that's it. Remember, you are love and beauty incarnate. You are of this world, but not necessarily in it, or however that, I'm not saying, maybe not saying that expression right, but you don't have to go down and roll in the mud down here and get involved in it and get pulled into, and it's terror. I'm hearing the word terror and being terrified. It can be terrifying. I'm sure if you're living in Australia, it's pretty damn terrifying, you know, or in some of the countries in the Middle East and stuff that are war-torn, sure. I'm sure it's terrifying to live there. But if you can find that space, if you can find that womb, that safe place, that thing that makes you feel safe, nurtured, loved, even, you know, doing the inner child work, what, you know, even if you don't ever had that grandma or energy or whatever it was, you know, do that old inner child work. You know, that's still, it's I know it's so 80s, but it's still a good practice, you know. You be your own champion. You go back and nurture yourself, and, you know, hold yourself and comfort yourself, your own inner child who's scared and freaking out and uncertain. And when you do that, you're engaging with and calling upon the higher energies, your own guides, or your own higher self or oversoul, and you're linking with that and becoming part of that. And you know, it can be very powerful. It's a powerful time. I'm a little scared. It's on my Mercury. I'm like, what's going on here? But we'll see. Hopefully, so far so good. I'm just working like crazy. I'm using the energy in a positive way. I'm writing. I have 3 books that I'm writing, and I've been working on the books day and night. Every spare minute I have, I'm in there working on my books. So I'm burning it up. That's another way you can use any kind of astrology energy. This could be, you know, that's maybe traditionally seen as kind of scary or negative or whatever. You use it up. You use it up and burn it up, so it hopefully won't manifest in that negative way, you know. Okay, so again, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to get this uploaded right away. I check out the readings that I do have available. I appreciate you oh so much. Have a great eclipse. Saturn, Pluto conjunction, Jupiter conjunct the South Node. I mean, really once in a lifetime event, Pluto and Saturn together in Capricorn on the eclipse. It really is. So I joke around a lot, try to lighten things up, but it's pretty major. Okay, everybody, till next time.